What's going on, everybody? We are your fantasy friends. Back at you, episode 44. Jason, how have we been allowed to do 44 episodes of this?
Well, we started off without our faces, and we hooked them
That's
before
what it
we showed
was.
them what it was. Yeah.
Our sultry voices. Man, tonight we have a special guest. We don't usually have guests, Jason, not too much, but tonight we got Mike Hicks at Drop the Mic FF on Twitter, lead dynasty writer and ranker at goingfor2.com, co-host of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet, and contributor, the main man over there at the Rum Boys Network. Mike, what's up, man?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me. Love and hate that fantasy football's over. I'm happy that it's over at the same time because it was a grind doing everything for going for two and being on air with Rum Boys a lot. But man, it's fantasy playoff time, and let's do that. Or not even fantasy playoff, football playoff time, and let's
Football
get this
playoff.
going.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, man. We
Oh,
really
no
appreciate
problem.
it. You're our first guest in God Lord. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. Jason, I forgot to ask you, how you living?
Strong.
Always,
you know
man.
it. Number
I
one
know.
in the AFC, strong.
Gosh, now the shots have already been fired. So to I'll set the stage a little bit. Anybody that follows Mike over on Twitter knows biggest Chiefs fan in the world. Anybody that's watched our show knows Jason, biggest Titans fan in the world. And we may have a collision course in the
Eh.
AFC. We'll find out. But before we get into anything, y'all, we got our first segment of the show. You talking good? It's this is our rumors, news, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So we just got a couple things because we got a jam packed show for y'all, an awesome jam packed show. Number one, the most epic choke job I think I've ever seen by a team in the playoffs. The Indianapolis Colts, all they had to do was win against the number one pick in the 2022 NFL draft, Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike, what happened?
I just want to say this. The funniest part to me was literally they clinched the number one pick within 45 seconds of winning the game.
That's tough, man.
Okay, so I watched a little more of this game than I wanted to because it was going back and forth. And as a Chiefs fan, this game actually mattered for the seeding if the Colts would have won. So I actually didn't think it was going to happen, but when it started happening, I'm like, I need to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
To me, that defense did not get a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and they made Trevor Lawrence look like a third-year QB that had already figured it out, and Wentz looked like the rookie.
Wentz played terribly. Jason, I know it felt good to you to see the Colts lose. That's just in your blood. So, did you get a chance to watch any of that game or what?
No, none of that game.
Got you. But I mean,
It really didn't matter to me at that point. I got to be honest. I was just like, screw both of them. I was a little bit worried about Houston, and I knew they'd eventually start chasing our heels. So there was that. But with Indy and Jacksonville, I mean, Tennessee had already secured the division. So,
got you. Yeah. Let me ask you this real quick. I'll just get a real quick answer. Who would you rather see win just in a normal game, Indy or Jacksonville?
Indy,
Okay, so you hate Jacksonville that much.
you know that.
I know. I wanted the people to know.
Why do you hate Jacksonville that much?
Man, they've just always been the guys, man. Since I started watching football, I mean, David Garrard used to give us hell. It's hard to hate Indy when you have Peyton. I loved Peyton.
Yeah.
It was hard to be mad about it. Like, you just kind of had to sit back and be like, man, that's good football. That's all you could do. Yeah, and Houston was never good. So growing up, it was just David Garrard had to die. Like, that was how I lived. All right, so and Peyton
We
got
got a
passed.
spit take. Yeah, dude. David Garrard was the freaking, and him and MJD, like,
Mojo,
let's
God.
go, dude.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yep.
All right, to our next one. Cooper Kupp is now the fourth player since 1970, to win the receiving triple crown. The last person to do it Steve Smith in 2005. My question to y'all, Jason, I'll start out with you this time. We'll just say redraft. I don't feel like getting into too much dynasty. I know you're a dynasty guy, like diehard, Mike. So I'll get your answer on this. But where's his ADP next year?
Well,
Is he
first of all,
is he the number one?
I just want to cheers to Cooper Cup because Triple Crowns feel really good, Eric. I just thought I'd let you know that they feel really, really good. But ADP, man, wide receiver 2.
Mike, what you think?
In redraft, I think he's going to be wide receiver 1.
That's kind of my thought as well, just from the recency bias. I mean, to me, Devontae Adams is still the wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Depending, obviously, that situation is wild. We have no idea.
That's why I don't think if we could solidify that issue that we know we're in the back of our heads with the whole Diva QB and all that jazz. I'm just going to say it.
Hey,
I personally
like
don't. I got in an argument 2 days ago with someone on air thinking that person telling me that Rodgers was going to stay with everything going on. I still think he's gone no matter what. So because of that, I don't know if Devontae stays. They could franchise him. But without knowing that, I can't say Devontae's WR1. If that was solidified, I'd probably say Cup WR2, Adams WR1 for redraft.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what
I kind of agree with you, Mike. I think he probably will be the wide receiver 1 in redraft. We'll see. I mean, really, his dynasty value is what's interesting to me. Dude, at this point, this might be a hot take, but you could get the world for him at this point. He's 28 years old already.
Yep.
I know that's the prime of a wide receiver's career. I understand. But depending on where you're at in your pursuit for a championship, you could get a couple first rounds for that guy. So my contingent advice is maybe sell. Maybe sell.
Yeah,
So
you got to stack.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I got a league that I got in 3rd place. I was nipping on the buds of the winner all year. I had Cup, Diggs, and I forget my 3rd WR, but I'm already thinking about trying to sell them just to get the haul back and still be able to, with Diggs and a decent wide receiver core, pick up a position that I need and still be able to fill that wide receiver position on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, let's say a Darnell Mooney and 2 first-round picks.
Like it.
That, to me, like I would have a hard time turning that down.
Exactly.
Honestly. So all right, well, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
You have to stack the fact that Robert Woods missed a great deal of the season. You have to kind of give Odell a little bit of a estimate of progression, I would say.
Moving forward.
I would say that Odell gets way more targets next year. And that was something they really didn't have. So, you put those 2 guys back in the offense, and I'm not saying Cup has a bad year. I'm not saying he slips below 5, but I'm just saying he might not be that guy, especially when you have Justin Jefferson's in the league and, the guys in Cincinnati.
Sure,
so,
it's hard to sustain that success too. Like being the overall wide receiver 1, running back 1, quarterback 1. That's that's almost impossible. That's what's such a crazy thing about Travis Kelce, for instance. I think this is the first year he wasn't the tight end 1 in the past. This would have been, I think, 6 in a row.
Yeah.
So wild. TJ Watt tied the single season sack record. Funny fact I saw, he did it in 15 games versus Michael Strahan's 16. Obviously, that was due to injury with TJ Watt, and they had the longer season. But, dude, I mean, the guy's a beast. The guy is an absolute monster. What else can you say about it? Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
I hate that he plays for Pittsburgh.
I hate it too. So I want to say this. Welcome to the 100 reception club. Jalen Waddle, rookie for the Miami Dolphins, and Hunter freaking Renfrow. Let me ask both of y'all this. Mike, actually, you're the betting guy. What, what would that parlay have looked like? Both of those dudes, 100 receptions in the preseason.
I don't know. I'm going to say one quick thing about Renfro because I really want to get into the other one. I really thought I was part of the Brian Edwards fan club as we coming into the year. We don't need to get into the reason why, the whole Ruggs thing. That's a whole different situation. But with Brian Edwards not doing what we thought he would until the fourth quarter of 8 games, and then the other 8, he didn't show up. Renfro, I think, is that guy that's like, the Brandon Stokely, the Westwell, just that, but not even that, like in that type of role, but just like that guy that Derek Carr just knew was going to be there when he had to get him the ball. Mm-hmm. And especially with Waller having an off year, I wouldn't have thought 100. If Waller was healthy all year, I don't think it would have happened. But congrats to Hunter Renfrow. You did awesome. Jalen Waddle, I just want to say thank you very much because I got ridiculed all offseason for saying that I had him as my WR2 in the rookie class over Devonta Smith. And I had people telling me I was stupid because I said there was no way Devonta would have won the Heisman if Waddle didn't get hurt in the Tennessee game. I wanted Waddle, and I had probably 50% shares of Waddle in Dynasty, and I am perfectly okay with it. We'll get into a little bit why I'm a little bit scared later, possibly. But congratulations, Jalen Waddle, especially as a rookie.
Absolutely, Jason. Did both of those surprise you? One of those surprise you?
Of course, both of them surprised me. I missed hard on Waddle. I wasn't. It wasn't Waddle though. I was one of those guys who was like, no Tua for me. I'll have none of it. And so, yeah, I never saw it coming.
Yeah. Hey, and I just wanted to say this as well. So if anyone is on my Eric Johnson personal Facebook, watching it on there, I can't see the comments that y'all are writing. So I would suggest go over to the YouTube and watch it from there. Fantasy Friends. So just a PSA. But fellas, it is time to get into the playoff previews. I am so excited. This is how Jason and I started off nearly a year ago, maybe a little bit less than a year ago. Jason and I were just doing audio previewing and reviewing playoff games, and we just had such a ball doing it. We were like, shit, man. Our hubris said they need to see our faces as well. But what I'm gonna do with this, I'm literally just gonna go as the NFL schedule dictates. So we're gonna save not even the best for last, but we're gonna get into an interesting game being played Saturday afternoon. The number 5 seeded Raiders, who won on that really incredible game. Daniel Carlson is an absolute ice cold, like ice in his freaking veins. But we got the number 5 seeded Raiders against the number 4 seeded Bengals. Mike, I'm going to go to you first. What do you think about this game and who wins?
So in this game, I think I don't remember. I think this one is too, but I just want to bring up that I think 5 of the 6 first round matchups are rematches this year, which is very interesting. Side point. Besides being a Chiefs fan, one of the teams that I couldn't get off of this year was the Bengals, no matter what. So I do want to bring that up. However, non-biased opinion, I just have a feeling that the Bengals offense is going to be a little too much. I think Brandon Jacobs is going to have a really good game for this. I think the Raiders have to dictate tempo in this game if they want a chance.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. They have
Brandon
to have,
Jacobs.
Brandon Jacobs is like
ain't
probably
played for a minute, brother.
He's like 48 years old, probably freaking walking around.
Let me say
dippy.
this though: how great was Brandon Jacobs back in the day? Sorry,
he was a stud.
He was a stud. Sorry, go ahead.
But I think this game is going to go down. I think Joe Mixon, who I am not on the Joe Mixon fan club, I think Joe's going to have a decent game. But I think that secondary of the Raiders is going to be exposed. I think Chase and Higgins, even Boyd, could have a decent game. I think Azuma might have a couple little plays down the middle. As long as they can keep the stud from Eastern Michigan, Max Crosby, out of that backfield and not pressure Burrow too much, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this game.
Jason?
Yeah, well, it's like you said. You have the matchup factor, the rematch factor. I mean, my first thing I always go to is, man, it's hard to beat any team twice in the NFL. Parity's big, and so. But then I look at it, and you're right. There is so much talent with Cincinnati. I actually like both quarterbacks, but Derek Carr certainly doesn't have the weapons that that Cincinnati's packing, and Joey B's got to show it, and you're asking him to do it on his first trip, and usually that doesn't go well. So I don't know. I'm taking Raiders. I'm going to be contrary. I want to say the Raiders here.
Wow.
I'm going to say parity and defense gets it done.
So I have the exact opposite reaction than Jason. I think this is the game. If there's going to be a game, that's a blowout, it's going to be this game. I'm going to tell you why. I hit my wrong tab here. Raiders, 6th most points against, 2nd most penalized team, middle of the road in points scored, and 11th in total offensive yardage. To me, and so I'll just say this: the Bengals 7th most points scored, 13th in offensive yardage, but 26th in total offensive plays. The Bengals are going to be able to do whatever they want to the Raiders, in my opinion. They're going to be able to slow the game down. They're going to be able to hit those play action passes, those deep passes to Jamar Chase, because I don't think that the Raiders can really stop Joe Mixon. And you look at a team like, let's say the Raiders, like I said, 2nd most penalized team. You know who's 2nd least penalized? Cincinnati Bengals. So to me, you have a disciplined team versus an undisciplined team with an interim head coach. They're lucky to be in the playoffs. Mike and I were kind of talking about it a little bit before here. The Chargers are the better team. They're a better team than the Raiders. I mean,
but I've been saying that all year, and they just keep getting it done. There's just so much heart in that team.
Agreed.
And that's there's immeasurables here.
Yeah. I'm going with the Bengals for sure. The talent is going to win out. So we have Mike Bengals, Jason Raiders, myself, the Bengals, as we say down south.
Where we're from, we graduated Bengals.
We barely graduated. Okay. So the next matchup, we've got the Patriots, the number 6 seeded Patriots versus the number 3 seeded Bills. The Bills are 3.5-point favorites. It's a 42.5 over under. They split the regular season meetings, but if y'all remember that week 13 at Buffalo was that weird ass, super cold snow game where Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
3 times. You know what? Have y'all seen the forecast for Saturday for the Bengals for the Bills and Patriots game?
Not rain or snow, but I know the temperature.
Yes, single digits. Does that? So I'll ask y'all this, Jason. I'll start with you. Does that lend itself more to the Patriot style of play or to the Bills style of play?
I think it lends itself more to the Patriot style of play, but I would just put a little caveat that the Buffalo Bills have a tough son of a bitch for a quarterback, and he'll run the hell out of the ball too. So,
yes, he will.
I mean, absolutely. We're talking play script. We're talking about that. We're talking about the Patriots, but I'm not counting Josh Allen out, knowing that he'll just take the ball and run it.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Like Jason was saying earlier, with the whole it's easy to beat a team twice. The thing that's toughest to me when it comes to playoffs is having to play a division opponent in the first round, because that's the 3rd time you've played each other. You probably have played them in the last 4 weeks, and they played them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And both of the games that they played each other were twice in 3 or 4 weeks. Being back at home, I think Josh Allen has a chip on his shoulder. Yes, the Bill Belichick factor is there. They're not going to throw the ball 3 times because Mac Jones is going to have to throw the ball more in this game. And not saying Mac Jones is going to have a horrible game or not, but the rookie is going to come out in this game. I just have this weird feeling that the rookie is going to come out at least once or twice, and it's going to come out, and Josh Allen's going to capitalize it. And I just have a feeling Buffalo is going to win this game.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tale of two tapes here. The Patriots have lost 3 of their last 4. The Bills have 4 straight wins. If Mac Jones has to pass the ball, which I agree with both of you, I think he's going to have to. These are the 2 best teams against the pass in the NFL over the 2021 season. I just think that it's been 2 years. This is now the 3rd year in a row where Josh Allen has been in the playoffs. He's made some boneheaded freaking mistakes in the playoffs this past 2 years. I think the 3rd time is the charm, and I do believe the Bills win this game. So we got Bills, Bills, Bills.
Yes.
Bills, dollar bills all around. All right. On to the Sunday game here. We're starting out with what I think might be the most interesting game of the week. The 7-seeded Eagles against the number 2 seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks are 8.5 points favorites with a 49-point over under. Both pretty decent offenses. The Bucks obviously are their second highest scoring offense in the league this year. We know that Tampa's going to try and throw the hell out of this ball. They were, hold on, what are my stats are saying here? 56 more pass attempts than the second highest team, which was the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you think that Tampa Bay can get it done against Philadelphia, Mike?
I just want to say I understand them wanting to throw the ball. Who are they going to throw the ball to? I mean, they just lost. I mean, I think it's hilarious. They just lost a guy to a pulled hamstring who had never played football in college. He had never played one down of football in college. He's a sprinter in LSU, decides to go try out at CFL, and then makes it to the NFL. Now they even lost him. I mean, they got Scotty Miller, AB, go bye-bye. You lost Godwin, so you have Evans, who's a little dinged up. He left the game. You got Gronk, who is just a monster. I have a feeling they might try to use 2 or 3 tight ends in this game because the matchups, you never know. They're going to have to do something. I do think they're going to throw the hell out of the ball. They got to sprinkle some run game in there. I think Philly is going to score, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Tom, and Brady's going to go to the second round like he always does.
Jason, what you got, man?
So let's not forget how Brady runs the offense in playoff time. This is when they run the actual shit out of the ball. This is what we were talking about all last season with Leonard Fournette. We were like, oh, God, here he is. And it's the same way with LeGarrette Blount for years. That is the way that Tom Brady's offense works. When they get to the playoffs, they run it down your throat. So I'm looking at Keyshawn Vaughn right now. I'm trying to make sure I got some stats in front of me. Who's going to be the guy? I'm trying to figure out this kid's size.
Well, Fournette is expected to be back on Sunday.
Oh, it's Lenny coming back? Okay. Well,
I just read that.
Okay.
This is
about. Well, then know exactly.
Yeah, this is from a day ago by NBC Sports.
So if Leonard Fournette's playing, then we already know what's going to happen. It's going to be all the Lenny in the world, and then Gronk, and then all the Lenny in the world, and then Gronk. And that's exactly how it's going to go. That's how it's gone for God knows how long, a decade. So I'm not doubting anything. I think Tom Brady is pretty well written. We know.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing as well. Is like, I know Tampa Bay's had some. They're pretty good against the run, but I honestly think those numbers are skewed from the first about 6-7 games they played because no one was running the ball against them. And then they had, I forget who it was. It was kind of a jag. Anyways, I can't remember who it was, but he ran the ball against, I think it might have been James Robinson actually. But anywho, had a really, really, really good game against them. And if my problem is, sure, the Eagles keep the ball for 3/4 of possession. I don't think the Eagles can stop Tampa Bay on offense. And if you're telling me it's going to be a close game, which I think it's going to be a close game, there is no way in hell I'm going against Tom Brady at all. Give him 30 seconds to score 8 points. That's a done deal.
I mean, I know it was the Jets, but look what he did there. I mean, 34, 35, they're like, oh, game's over. I'm like, No. Like, you just gave Tom the ball back.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum, and it's super scary. One of our other co-hosts, Cam, he and I were only FaceTiming earlier today, and we were talking about how nice it must be to have like a Patrick Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers or a freaking Tom Brady as your quarterback in these tight situations. Because for me, with Dak Prescott, I'm a Cowboys fan, so with Dak Prescott, I'm terrified all the time. Like anytime he throws the ball. But yeah, man. So I'll have to go with it. I think this is a much closer game than the 8.5 points. I do think the Eagles actually covered this spread. But I will say Tampa Bay moves on. So we got 3 Tampa Bays here.
Yep.
The next game.
Tampa.
Oh God. The 6-seeded 49ers versus the 3-seeded Cowboys. The Cowboys are 3-point favorites in the highest over-under of the wild card weekend at 50.5 points. Mike, let me get your thoughts. Be gentle, okay? Just be gentle on me.
So here's the thing. This is the biggest styles make matchups game of the gosh dang week. You got the Cowboys who are going to want to go and are going to need to go down and score points after points after points. And I personally think that last week was not a fluke against the Eagles, but I think this week is going to show that they're missing Gallup more than last week did. The Niners are going to want to hold the ball, run the ball, not let Jimmy lose the game. So I think Dak is going to have to make more bigger plays and less mistakes because of it. Because even though that Parsons and Diggs and that defense can make plays, and they're going to have to win this game, I believe that it's going to stay really close. And if there is an upset, I think this could be it.
Jason?
Well, I'm just picking up a few things here, just kind of wanting to look before I put my foot in my mouth. But
I can go if you're looking.
When's the last time? I'm just looking through your schedule here. When was the last time you played somebody who could run the ball? When's the last time you played a physical team? Because
the thing is, nobody really our offense has been, besides these last 6 weeks or so, the offense is dictated where you really can't just run the ball. You can't do a Seattle essentially run the ball. Hey, Russ, it's 3rd and 2. Go get the conversion. I
don't see. I'm just looking through this whole season, and I just really don't see you guys playing a team that is anywhere near the physicality of the 49ers.
Well, I'll tell you, and I think it was like week 5 or 6, Dallas played Carolina, and Carolina put up over 200 rushing yards against Dallas. So
28-36 Dallas. Yeah, okay.
Thereby proving, if you want to run the ball, you can run the ball against this team.
Well, and the Vikings held you guys close. 2016. Yeah. That might be one of the most. That might be the closest. That might be a little giving them too much. But man, you just haven't played many physical teams. You've played teams who are gonna get into a throwing situation with you guys, and I don't know. I don't like it.
The other thing I want to add about the defensive side of the ball for the Niners is they're actually dead even 7th ranked on rush defense and pass defense. So I think this, even though this defense I think is a little underrated, and I'm not on the Niners bandwagon or anything like that. I just think looking into it, matchup, I think it's the stylistic thing. I think the Cowboys are gonna have to, and the problem is this: what is the stigma around the entire country? The Cowboys don't do it when they need. They haven't won since early 90s. Well,
96,
Dak hasn't.
Thank you.
Dak hasn't done squat in the playoffs. He's gonna have Dak's still trying to prove that he can do it in the playoffs. And is he gonna? We don't even know if he's going to choke under the pressure or rise to the pressure. We unfortunately don't know. And I think, is Tony Pollard healthy? Have they come out and said?
I have not seen, but I will. Let me get a
because I think they need that 1-2 punch now. I don't think Zeke
really do.
I don't think Zeke is that guy that can I hate saying that because I love Zeke and I have shares of Zeke and Dynasty. But Zeke has turned into that guy that needs that 1-2 punch with him.
Yeah.
He does, absolutely. So what I'm looking at right here, oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. From Number Fire, Tony Pollard foot to be ready for the wild card game.
Okay, so
looks like
hopefully
he'll
he's
be
ready.
back. And man, as a Cowboys fan, like, and I'm with you, Mike. I have quite a few shares of Zeke and Dynasty and everywhere actually in our keeper league, Jason. And I hate to say it, but at this point, I need to see almost a 50-50 split between him and Pollard as just me being like a selfish Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you, Mike. The styles make fights here. No one, as to Jason's point, has actually just said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run the ball every single down, kind of like the Patriots did against the Bills in that like super cold game, or that snowy game, I should say. If they do that, it's going to be like, do you remember? So San Francisco beat Green Bay in the playoffs. I forget what year that was, but they just ran the ball down their throat and just annihilated them. Kept Aaron Rodgers off the field. The only way that the Cowboys win this game is if the Cowboys offense from earlier in the year shows up. That's the only way. Zeke needs to be efficient, or like to your point, Mike, we need to have Pollard in there a lot more. And Dak has got to hit on some of those. CeeDee Lamb's got to stop fucking dropping passes. There's my one F-bomb for the freaking
missing routes and just running the wrong route.
He's so talented, but he makes some boneheaded ass freaking
that's what
decisions.
You guys do. You guys draft really good players and then you teach them terrible work ethics.
All right.
Oh, I didn't even go there.
Moving on.
What, I mean,
do we have 49ers all around on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say 49ers. I'm hoping I'm like reverse psychology.
Yeah, I hope
here.
reverse psychology.
All right. So, oh God. All right, Mike, I'm giving this all to you. The 7th seeded Steelers versus the 2-seeded Chiefs. The Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites, by far the biggest spread on the weekend. 46.5-point over under. The Chiefs might get 46 points all on their own. Mike, walk me through this game.
All right. So I don't know if you have heard my saying on the fantasy cheat sheet, Eric. I know you heard it on the holiday party.
Yes.
Dumpster fire and hot garbage, Jason, are my two favorite words when it came to what the Chiefs defense used to be. It used to be in years past, bend and don't break. This year, it was freaking bend and shatter. There was no not breaking at all. It was just shatter. The two turning points happened in 2 weeks. One, they picked up Melvin Ingram, who the Steelers let go. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Thank you, Pittsburgh. And two, when they got Melvin Ingram, Steve Spagnuolo pulled his head out of that butt of his and finally put Chris Jones back in the middle of the defense where he dominated and was an all-pro and a Pro Bowler and never should have left. Why put a guy like that on the outside? I have no freaking idea, and that's why you're not a head coach, Steve. But the reason I bring that up is the defense finally got it together halfway through the year until they started letting the Broncos run all over them. The offense wasn't doing great throughout the year. We all know that. I was actually at the game in Kansas City, week 11, against the Cowboys. And the offense didn't do great. And what was it, Eric? 19-9 or something?
It was the worst game. It was a terrible game. It was shitty. On both sides of the ball. Yeah.
I was there. Yeah. I mean, their offense couldn't get going. They finally got it going. Pittsburgh. I know CEH is not the healthiest. He might come back. Darrell Williams can be serviceable. Pittsburgh, everyone thinks that they have the greatest defense in the world because they have this clout. And they got TJ Watt, and I get that. Do you know what they're ranked on defense and against the run?
I do not.
32.
Ooh, that's doo-doo.
32nd against the run. What are the Chiefs going to do? Because you know Andy Reid is the game planner of all game planners. They're going to make them think they're going to run it, and then right when they think we're going to run it, play action, bye-bye down the middle to Kelsey or whatever. The one thing that I do need to bring up, because this, as a Chiefs fan, really scares the living daylights out of me. That damn heel injury of Tyreek Hill. Because one, I don't think they managed it right. Why you keep putting him in the game and then having him run slant routes where he's planning on the foot that he hurt, and then he goes up and hops off the field, and then 2 plays later, Hardman drops the ball and you bring him back in. Do I think they're going to cover the spread? Yes. Do I think we're going to win the game? But am I still going to be scared every single play? Because the other thing that Patrick Mahomes did all year is in the past, he knew the defense was bend and don't break. And the Washington game back at the beginning of the year is what the play that emphasizes that the most. That was when we were still bend and shatter. He was trying to play hero ball way too much because it used to be he could try to do a little too much and the defense could bail him out. This year at the beginning, it wasn't like that. There was a play at the end of the first half against Washington. He's falling down. He plants his left hand on the ground, pushes himself up just enough to throw the ball up, straight up in the air. We were in field goal range, down in the game, and he throws it right to Cameron Curl for an interception. So anytime I see that, I'm still going to be scared. I'm not so worried about this matchup, but when we get deeper into the playoffs, he's going to have to play smarter, and that defense is going to have to keep showing up.
We're going to talk about it a little deeper in the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
We're making real good time right now. I'm really excited because I think we're going to get to some real good content. Jason, how good is it going to feel? Because so, Mike, just for a little peel back behind the curtain here, Jason and I, this is our 4th year, I think, starting on our Dynasty League with a bunch of buddies from ours back home, some family. Anyways, really, a really fun league. So 2 of our main OG members are massive Steeler fans. Jason, how good is it going to feel to just ridicule Keith and Tran until they cry?
Oh man, well, it won't work on Keith, but Tran, we got a good shot.
Yeah, Tran will cry.
Yeah, he'll probably cry. But I don't know, man. I feel bad for Big Ben at the same time. I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop you there because I have something to say to the people. We were talking in that same league the other day, and Jason compares Big Ben to Kobe Bryant.
I didn't. No.
No. That was you.
I said, can you believe people are comparing him to Kobe Bryant because of the off the field stuff? That's what I was talking about.
No. I will pull the receipts, motherfucker. You said he's 1 in a million player like Kobe Bryant.
No, dude. Go pull it.
We'll talk about that offline. I don't want to keep the whole show with that.
No.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue, Jason.
I mean, that's all I had to say is I feel bad for him.
He's going to have a worse game than he had against Cleveland last year. The first play of the game was Pouncey hiking it over his freaking head.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, what is it, 12.5? Yeah, I think they cover.
Well,
I don't really
and
have
another
much more.
thing, you made a great point, and this is the same thing with the Niners and the Cowboys, is how do you beat a good pass rush? You run the ball at them. And, man, the Chiefs' backs might all get a little bit of work. Whoever's out there anymore, I don't know what you have in the roster, but
Mike.
Yeah, Darrell Williams, CEH if he plays, and then Derek Gore.
Gore, the beast mode over here. Mike, let me ask you. So I said this on one of our earlier shows earlier in the season, actually, that I honestly think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a Jag. I think he's just another guy. Do you agree? Like, what from your perspective as a Chiefs fan, what do you think about him? Is he the future, or do they need to draft someone like yesterday?
They should have drafted DeAndre freaking Swift is what they should have freaking done. They shouldn't have listened to it's the one time they listened to the damn quarterback. Because he did call him up and say, I want Clyde. Yeah. However, I'm going to go back to last year. What drove, and this will show you, this will lead into my opinion and what you want me to say. last year, what absolutely drove me absolute dog crazy was his red zone efficiency. Anytime he got the ball inside the 10-yard line, he went absolutely nowhere. There was a game that he had 5 inside the 5 carries, 1 positive yard.
Dude, he's a tiny guy though, right?
He's a tiny guy.
5'7", 205.
I mean, I'm sitting there watching him play in the game against the Cowboys, sitting in the end zone. They're coming towards us. He gets the ball in shotgun, and I think he's swallowed up at the line with freaking, the defensive line guys and the offensive behind freaking Creed Humphrey and all those dudes. And then he literally skinnies his way through, and he's 7 yards in. I think he is a change of pace back. He is not a 3-down back. He's not. I know the 3-down back to me is almost out of the game. Yeah. But to me, he is a change of pace. 30. He is the 2 of a 1-2 punch. He is a jag.
Amen. I drafted him. Hey man, I'll be honest. I drafted him in a lot of places this offseason because I just thought, second year in the offense, the Kansas City offense is going to be incredible. To me, it just obviously, well, not to me, it just didn't work out. So
they're trying to use him like Brian Westbrook, and he's not Brian Westbrook.
He's not Brian Westbrook. Dude, Brian Westbrook. We're talking about a throwback guy. I loved, even though he's an Eagle, I freaking love Brian Westbrook.
Can you imagine if Kansas City would have just held on to Kareem Hunt?
Oh.
I look back at that all the time.
Don't do that to Mike. Look at him.
Hey, don't do it to me. We're in a fucking keeper. Excuse me. We're in a keeper league, and I had him. And I had him in CMC. And they would have been the best keepers that ever existed in all time.
Jason, I went in 2018 to my first game ever on Arrowhead, spent a little bit of money to sit in the lower bowl. They were playing the Denver Broncos. He was on the team. When I landed, 45 minutes before I landed off the airplane, the video came out.
Oh,
I saw his last game in a Chiefs uniform.
Wow. That's the worst shit ever, man.
It was horrible.
We got one comment here. It's all, like I said, on my, if you're commenting on my actual Facebook page, but it's from an old coworker of mine, Brian Giovanni. Hopefully I didn't fuck your name up too bad, bro. He said, "Go Pack, go." He's a huge Packers fan. He's a piece of trash. Let's be honest. No, I'm just playing, bro. I'm just playing. Gio, you're cool, man. But we'll talk about the Pack here in a second. So I think we're all going Chiefs on that one. Our last preview for this episode here. Well, we might have a couple more, but our last preview of the wild card, we'll say. The number 5 Cardinals versus the number 4 seeded Rams. Rams are 4-point favorites with a 50 over under. They split the regular season. The only comment I'll have on this one, I'm going to throw it to you guys. To me, the top end play of the Rams is as good as anyone. If every team in the NFL plays to their potential, I think the Rams are in the top 1 or 2 of that echelon or whatever you want to say. But Jason, I'm going to hit you up first. What do you have to say about this matchup? It's going to be in Arizona. Who wins it and why?
I mean, I just think that Arizona Cardinals defense fell apart all the way through the season, and some of the offense has fallen apart all the way through the season. So they started out a real contender, and I just don't think they're that anymore. I think LA's still got it. They've, going out and getting Odell was such a big deal because it's actually translating. You still have Aaron Donald up front. I mean, do we know what's going on in the running back situation? Have we heard anything this week? What?
Not yet.
I'm muted. Sorry. Darrell Henderson is not going to play. Not this week. So what I saw initially was 3 to 5 weeks estimated for him to come back. This would be week 3. Oh, you talking about Cam Akers?
Yeah.
I mean, he got snaps last game.
He did, but dude,
I don't think.
Sony Michelle has been like really,
Oh,
really,
yeah.
really
There's always
serviceable.
that too. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you got Cooper Cup, you got OBJ.
They're
Tyler
just
Higbee
stock,
had a
man.
good game last week.
Higbee
He did.
showed
He
up.
But
did.
week 17, he had a good game. So Mike, so you're saying the Rams, Jason?
Yeah, they're stocked. It's
Okay.
just-
Mike, who you got?
So, but before the season started, everyone thought, with Stafford or whatever. But I thought the Cardinals were 1 year away from being that. They needed a couple more pieces.
Mhm.
Who knows what those pieces are, but they're proving it right now that even though they got AJ Green and Christian Kirk and whoever else, and that Wesley guy is showing up and actually performing, they are missing DeAndre Hopkins more than they think. Because, yes, they've started to crumble before DeAndre went out, but as soon as DeAndre Hopkins went out, it was like Kyler Murray didn't know what he was doing. And to Jason's point, the defense didn't have to win them games, didn't have to be the stars, didn't have to be the solid rock of that team. Now they're being asked to do it, and they just can't do it. They have Chandler Jones, they got Buda Baker, they got Byron Murphy, but they don't have like a lot. They don't have they're not star-studded. Just like you said, Eric, I think the Rams, when they're playing their best, are one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. I think the Rams are going to win this. The other thing that I want to bring up is Doc Emmerich from Dr. Roto told me this on another show I was on, talking about division opponents after week 10 in the regular season, that more often than not, I think it was like 60, 65%. It was a decent percentage, always was landing on the under. I believe, even though it's a playoff game, I think that's going to hold true. I think the Rams are going to win, and I would go with the under.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the second highest over-under of the week. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, it just hurts because, like you said, Jason, the defense just stopped and the offense just stopped being as prolific as they were. They lost J.J. Watt. They lost freaking DeAndre Hopkins. J.J. is obviously not J.J. from 2014 or anything, but
no, but he was
still,
playing really well.
But I'm telling you, yeah, exactly. So he's one of those guys who can go inside, outside, kind of like Chris Jones. And then you had him paired with Chandler Jones as well. I mean, that's a hard thing to. But I actually saw something. Maybe JJ would be back. I can't.
I
remember
heard there
what
was I heard there was a chance, but I didn't know how definite.
And then I'll say this for Hopkins is that if the Cardinals get to the NFC Championship game, I think it was Dr. David Chow, the Pro Football Doc on Twitter. He said that would be like the earliest he could come back. So
yeah, I heard that, but I just don't think that's going to happen, even if they win this game.
I don't think so either, and I'm going to have to throw my hat in with the Rams as well. I just think they're just too talented. Matthew Stafford's got to freaking stop throwing the ball to the other team. I mean, if you can imagine a secondary that he can't do that to, it is the Cardinals, because they are butt awful. So yeah.
One thing I want to bring up about Stafford, just because we're in that game, and just to bring it up about Kupp, how we were talking earlier in the show about Kupp having the Triple Crown and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He almost broke the record that Calvin had, right? Calvin Johnson for who threw ball. I mean, Stafford has the number 1 and the number 2 seasons as QB for those guys, because he was the one that was throwing the ball to Calvin Johnson, and he was throwing the ball to to Kupp. So he's literally got the number 1 and the number 2 wide receiver seasons. Like, that's just crazy.
That's messed up, isn't it? You talk about lucking into something, right?
Yeah.
All right, so those are our wild card playoff previews. I think we were pretty much in agreement on all of them, except for just a couple. So the question I want to ask just to you two gentlemen, the dark horse. So that means a 4 seed or worse. Who is a dark horse that you can actually see getting to the Super Bowl? And if y'all need reminders here, so the 4 seeds and lower for the AFC, you've got the Bengals, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Steelers. For the NFC, you have the Rams, the Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Eagles. which one out of those 8 teams could y'all see getting to the Super Bowl?
Go, Jason.
Man, I hate it, but it's like I said about the Raiders earlier. They have these intangibles that it's just so much heart. They just won't die. They won't die. I
Yeah,
mean that
cockroach.
when I say it. Like, look, how many times should they have fallen apart and just that have been that? How many times do we expect them to just fall down? I don't know. That team has blown my mind all year long. I've literally voted against them all year long, or betted against them all year long, and I'm just to the point now where I'm like convinced they're just doing it to piss me off and all logic.
And you picked it just to piss me off.
Yeah.
Because she's bad.
Mike, who do you think, man?
All right, so it's funny that Jason picked the Raiders because I'm not picking the Raiders, obviously, but my dark horse is the Bengals. I don't necessarily think it'll happen because, like Jason said earlier, it is Joe's first foray into the playoffs. But if they can get it linking right, that defense has been underrated to me all year. They come up with big plays when they've had to. Hendrickson moved over from New Orleans and has looked pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
Von Bell has been good on the back side. I know Eric loved the fact that he was in the NFC East when he was there because he was horrible. But Eli Apple hasn't looked that bad for Cincinnati.
Mike Hilton has been pretty damn good as well.
Cincinnati in the AFC, I just have this weird feeling that Shanahan wants to pull something out of his rear end, but I don't think it's going to happen in that side.
So I'll say, just for me, real quick, I think it could be the Rams for all the reasons we already said, just because they have that high end ceiling. But I like both of those picks from y'all. I don't mind those at all. All right, let me get who has the hardest path. Who's got the hardest? So I mean, oh shit, Jason's gone. Okay, cool. Just me and you, Mike.
All right.
Who do you think has the hardest path to the Super Bowl?
Chiefs and the Titans.
Yeah.
Because that AFC, I think there's a reason me and Jason both picked someone in the AFC. That I think the NFC, I totally understand your point with the Rams, like 100%. But I just think in the AFC, I mean, look how close it was. I mean, let's just go back to Sunday real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If the Raiders would have won and the Colts would have won, the Colts would have been the 7th seed, and we would have had to play the Colts, and the Raiders would have been the 6th seed.
Yeah.
If there was a tie, the Raiders would have played us, and the Chargers would have been the 6th seed. If the New England Patriots would have won that game, there was a chance they would have been the 4 seed or the 3 seed. They could have been anywhere from 3 up. It was so mumbled jumbled where the seeding could have ended up. Even the Ravens, if everything would have fell right for the Ravens could have ended up at the 5 seed. To me, it's just crazy, man. To me, it's just so mumbled jumbled up there with those seedings that proves that division is so tight that, I mean, if everything goes chalk, let's say everything goes perfectly chalk, 2 wins, 3 wins, and 4 wins. You think Tennessee is going to feel super comfortable playing Cincinnati? No. The Chiefs aren't going to feel super comfortable playing Buffalo? No. Even if there's an upset, say the Raiders were to win, you think Tennessee, I mean, Jason's a Tennessee fan, and you hear him talking about the Raiders. If the Raiders are the only upset, it's going to be Tennessee versus the Raiders. That's not going to be very, advantageous. No. And we all think that Derrick Henry is going to come back as a monster, but we don't know that for sure. You never know.
You never know. I mean, especially with a foot injury, like how's his cardio? Because his calling card over the years has been him getting better as the game goes along. But you get tired as a human being. You get tired as the game goes along. Yeah, man, it's kind of a hard question to even answer as far as who has the hardest, path to get in, to to win. But like to me, like, I don't want to be like super biased because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I think they drew the worst matchup out of any of these first
in the first round. Yeah.
Yeah, what
12 teams.
Freaking 12 teams. Thank you. I was trying to do math and it was not working out, Mike. These first 12 teams that are playing this weekend, they drew the absolute hardest matchup. And Jason is texting me now. He says he apologizes to everyone and to yourself, Mike. His phone died on him.
Oh.
He doesn't have a charger, I guess. So I'm going to have to FedEx him one or something. But
we're good.
I'm just going to talk shit about him because he's not here.
Yep.
But, and then now to close it out, Mike, Super Bowl predictions. Who's playing in the Super Bowl and who wins?
All right. So I'm going to give 2, and you'll understand. You know why.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to say the Chiefs are making it. I mean, that's just, it's not like we're the 7th seed and we're 12.5-point underdogs. I mean, it's not like that. I mean, we're the 2 seed. I'm saying that. In the NFC, I think it's going to be Rodgers. I think Green Bay is going to I don't, like you said, Stafford's got to stop throwing interceptions, and it's kind of hard to just turn that switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'd rather be going into the playoffs good, not faltering a little bit.
Sure.
And tell me if you would agree or not. I think this is the best Green Bay defense we've seen in a while. They're not like star-studded. They're not like, the number 1 defense in the league, but they're getting the damn job done. And they're on the back end, they're a lot better. I mean, Rasul Douglas is on his 4th team of the season, and he's he's dominating. Like, he's absolutely, and Jair Alexander was out for the year. Kevin King can be I got a couple Packer fans that think Kevin King can be a liability, and that's probably true. But
he has been before, that's for sure.
A.J. Dillon is proving that he can be a 1-2 punch with Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones, I can't stand right now, and it's not that I don't like Aaron Jones, but as a fantasy football owner, they used Aaron Jones for this. The way they used him was getting ready for the playoffs. They knew that they were going to get him ready for the playoffs. I just think they're going to I just think that it's going to be hard to stop the 1-2 punch of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, along with obviously Devontae Adams. And Alan Lazard is turning into a freaking machine the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's going to, now that Jason's back, I will say this. Jason, I said my Super Bowl prediction is the Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. But if the Chiefs don't make it and Derrick Henry comes out healthy, that's the team I am scared of the most. I was scared of them the most week 1. I was on Rum Boys with Robbie and them, and I told them, and one of the things that Friday night when we gave our predictions was, what's the one team you're afraid of for your team the most in the playoffs? And I said, if the Tennessee Titans and that team can stay healthy, they'd be the team I'm afraid of the most. And that defensive line is finally showing up too. They were a little weak earlier in the year. I think Jason would agree with me. But Jeffrey Simmons and that defensive line and Bud Dupree and that defense is finally stepping up. And I will say this, Kevin Byard is a freaking maniac, and I will never doubt on that, man.
Yeah.
So, Jason, we're just doing the Super Bowl predictions. Who is going to be in the Super Bowl? Oh, Mike, we didn't get who's winning. Who's winning from you?
Chiefs,
Do
baby.
I even have to ask? Oh, yeah, of course.
Actually, I think the AFC is winning. I will say that.
So the AFC in general?
If it's us or the Titans.
Okay. Jason, who you got, man?
I agree. The NFC is soft. Let's see here.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Where's my little picture here? Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to be as honest about this as I possibly can.
You're such a liar. You're going to say Tennessee. I know you're going to.
I did. Yeah. It's hard not to.
I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to let my bias go through, okay? Jason, where'd you go? He gone.
He gone.
He gone. All right. While we wait for Jason to come back, I'll say mine.
Yeah, what's yours?
And to your point, Mike, Green Bay should be getting back David Bakhtiari, who is the best left tackle in the NFL. Maybe him or Tyron Smith, whatever. They're getting back. Oh gosh. Oh, Zadarius Smith, their best.
Oh
pass
Lord, I forgot about
They're
him.
getting back Jair Alexander as well. So for them to get the bye, for them to get the bye, and then Jason, we can't see. Can you hear us, man? Jason, I can hear your mic. All right, I'm going to take him off of here. For them to get back those three guys, I do have Green Bay coming out of the NFC. Oh, he's back now.
Yeah, sorry about
Lord
that.
have mercy, son. What you doing?
That was an actual emergency.
Oh, okay.
That was a security company calling me.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Is everything all right?
We'll see.
He's like, I got to finish my podcast first. Don't worry about it.
I'm just trying to let you down. Yeah, man. So just straight up, I'm taking the Titans because I think getting that week off, and I believe Henry will be back. I don't see it getting this far and not making it to the Super Bowl this time. Kansas City held us back last time. If anybody's going to do that, it'll be them again. So I will give them that. I don't really want to play them again. So especially in the AFC Championship game, it really sucks. But we would be paying them back should we win. So there's that. On the other side, let's see here. Green Bay.
You know you want to put them Cowboys in there.
I kind of want to, but we already said Niners. So it's Green Bay Rams, and I'm going Rams. I'm saying Titans Rams. They get to play us after we humiliated them on Monday Night Football, and it'll be a hell of a game, and I'll be pissing my pants the whole time.
You're trying to get revenge for that freaking Super Bowl is what's happening.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I didn't even think that far back. I was more worried about.
Dude, all right. You just
I thought what you were thinking, Eric.
I'm like, oh my God. He's seeing Kurt Warner. He's seeing Isaac Bruce.
He's seeing Mike Jones freaking tackle freaking Kevin Dyson at the half-yard line.
No, don't. He's going to start crying. You can't talk about that stuff here.
I couldn't believe they put that in the Kurt Warner movie. I'm like, I went to see a movie with the whole family, and I'm like, I sit down, and I'm so excited about it. And, yeah, I'm sitting there, and
how did you not know they were going to put that in there?
Well, no, I didn't go see the Kurt Warner movie. I went to see a different movie, and they brought that trailer on. It was the first time I'm seeing it on a giant screen. It was the worst. It was absolutely the worst.
And it's loud in there too. All right, so I'll say the Packers. And as much as I hate to say it, I call it, like Jason can attest to this. When the Chiefs were 3-4, I said the Chiefs are going to win out or get real damn close to winning out because they're still the best team in the AFC. Packers and Chiefs. And I actually have the Packers. I'm going to say the Packers win the Super Bowl.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but to go 3 times and then lose 2, like back to back. I mean,
dude, I'm sorry, but hey.
But this is the thing I will say about your prediction, because I think the NFL really wanted that last year.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom Brady ruined it. And the reason they wanted that last year was, remember, last year was the 100th anniversary of the league. And it was Super Bowl 1.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a rematch of Super Bowl 1 on the 100th anniversary of the league, that would have played right into all of the hype and lead up. Can you imagine the commercials and the campaign they would have brought up that week?
Dude, it would have been absolutely in freaking insane. So I'll tell you this much. I am actively rooting, and I put this on Twitter. I am actively rooting against the Chiefs just because Jackson Mahomes is the biggest douchebag I've ever seen in my entire life.
All right, I need to say something as a Chiefs fan.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, if you're watching this, or if anyone knows Patrick Mahomes, grab your brother, get him in a headlock, and tell him to get his shit together.
God, that kid is a fucking nightmare, dude.
He
Oh
really
my
is the
God.
worst.
Anywho,
He really
all
is the
right,
worst.
that's going to conclude our episode here, episode 44. Lord have mercy, it still surprises me they've let us stick around this long. Jason, tell the people where they can find you. Sorry, I lost my mind for a second.
Oh, Twitter at Big Chill Squad.
And you got anything going on? You just still celebrating your 3 championships or what?
Yeah, I'm still celebrating my Triple Crown.
I hate you so much.
You got 3?
Got
Yeah.
3, and 2 of them were the Shane's Multiverse League. I hit both. Multiverse.
Shane Barrett, yeah, Shane Barrett does these multiverse
gosh.
leagues.
Freaking
And then
Shane.
he beat me.
Freaking Shane.
He beat me in 2 of them, Mike. So imagine I didn't even want to get on the podcast with him the following week, to be honest with you. But anywho, Mike, what you got going on, man? You want to plug anything?
All right. So basically, you can find me at Drop the Mic FF. All I really want to plug is season's over, which means Dynasty time is around. I'm starting to dive into rookie stuff. I will be putting out some rookie profiles for Going for Two. I really haven't written in a long while for Going for Two, only because when the season started, Dynasty really wasn't on the mind of me, and I was waiting. And I'll be honest, I was in way too many leagues this year, so that took up way too much time. So I am looking forward to getting back into the writing groove, and let's see what happens.
Awesome, man. Well, once again, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on the show. We really
no
appreciated
problem.
having you, even though Jason tried to bail out halfway through, but that's all right. I'll be coming out with a lessons learned article sometime this week or potentially this weekend at goingfor2.com. Had a lot of contributions from the awesome folks that that I quote unquote work with over there. But that'll do it for us over here at Fantasy Friends. We hope you join us next time. And next time is going to be review of the wild card weekend, preview of the divisional round, and we're going to get it started. But Jason, throw them up. Tran, put a finger in.